we're continuing with the following statement. When multiplying fractions, comma, multiply numerators and denominators. All right, so again, we multiply numerator times numerator, and then we multiply denominator times denominator, okay? All right, so now we're going to look at a first example where we're multiplying fraction times a fraction, and I'm going to leave this statement up as a reminder. So here we have 1/6 times 3/5. 1/6 times 3/5. Okay? So now we can rewrite this as if we're multiplying numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. So that's going to be 1 times 3 over 6 times 5. Okay? Now we're going to simplify. We're going to simplify across, so we can simplify the numerator and the denominator, and the numerator and the denominator, okay? So of course, 1 and 5 are not factors of the same value that can be simplified, but 3 and 6 can be simplified because they are both factors of 3. So I'm going to divide 3 by 3, cross this 3 out, that's going to give us 1. I'm going to divide 3 into 6, cross this 6 out, that's going to give us 2. Okay? Remember, we can cross simplify numerator with the opposite denominator, numerator with the opposite denominator. Okay? So now I'm going to rewrite this problem. That's going to equal 1 times, instead of the 3, we're going to write the simplified version. That's 1 times, instead of 6, we're going to write 2 times 5. Okay? So now we can multiply. Just multiply numerator times denominator. Numerator times numerator, that's 1. Denominator times denominator, that is 10. And this is our final answer because this is in its simplest form. Okay? Now you can also multiply this fraction without doing this second step, and I'll show you the difference here. Okay? For example, if I take the same problem, 1/6 times 3/5, and without simplifying, I'm just going to rewrite it. Numerator times numerator, 1 times 3 over 6 times 5. And instead of simplifying like I did here, I'm just going to multiply it. Okay, so the numerator here, 1 times 3 is 3. 6 times 5 is 30. But then we have to simplify this fraction. We have to simplify this fraction. So it means 3 and 30 are both multiples of 3, so we can divide both 3 and 30 by 3. And of course, that gives us 1/10, which is the same answer we got from the previous question. But this time we simplified before, and if you don't simplify and multiply, you'll simplify after. So I showed you the two different ways. Either you can simplify before or you can simplify after. All right? Let's look at another example. We have 6/8 times 3/12. All right. 6/8 times, oh wait, I messed it up. I'm sorry. Instead of 3/12, it should be 4/12. I'm looking at the wrong problem. I'm sorry. All right, so here we go. We have 6/8 times 4/12. So if we rewrite the following problem where we're multiplying numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator, we have 6 times 4 over 8 times 12. And now I'm going to look to simplify. Remember, you can either multiply it out and then simplify, or simplify before you multiply. So I'm just going to look to simplify before I multiply. So I have, of course, 6 and 12 are multiples of 6. So I can divide both of these by 6. That's going to give us 1. This is going to give us 2 as our denominator. Also, 4 and 8 are multiples of 4. So I can cross these out and simplify. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Okay? So now we can rewrite this problem with the simplified numerators and denominators. So that's 1 times 1 over 2 times 2. And of course, if we multiply, that's going to give us 1/4. And then this is our simplified answer, so because we cannot simplify this fraction any further. Okay? All right, so now we're going to look at multiplying mixed numbers with a fraction. Okay? So let's say I have the following example. 2 3/5 times 4/10. All right, 2 3/5 times 4/10. Of course, I have to change this mixed number to an improper fraction. So of course, in order to get that improper fraction's numerator, I have to multiply the denominator times the whole number and then add the numerator. All right, using the big C. And that's how I label it. Multiply, then add. Multiply, then add. So if I rewrite the following, that's going to give me 13/5, because 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 is 13. That's where I get the numerator from. And then your denominator stays the same. And then I'm going to write what we're multiplying. So that's times 4 and times 10. All right. So now we look to simplify. Of course, 4 and 5 are not multiples of a number. 13 and 10 are not multiples of a number. So we just have to multiply. We cannot simplify this problem as it is now. So now we're going to multiply. Of course, 12 times 4 is 48. So 13 times 4, just add 4 to the 48, that's 52. And 5 times 10 is 50. Now we have to change this improper fraction into a mixed number. Our final answer should be a mixed number. So I'm going to rewrite the following here. We use that by dividing. Top value inside, bottom value out. So 52 is our dividend. 50 is our divisor. All right. So now we multiply, or we look for the quotient here. We can divide 52 into groups of 50 one time. We multiply and subtract 52 minus 50. That's going to equal 2. So now we can rewrite this as a mixed number because our quotient is our whole number. I'm going to put W for whole number. The remainder is our numerator. I'm going to put N for numerator. and the divisor is the denominator. So I'm going to put a D for divisor. And then once I rewrite this in the correct form, I have 1 and 2 50ths. And then I look to simplify. Of course, 2 and 50 are multiples of 2. That means we can divide both 2 and 50 by 2. And when we divide both the numerator and the denominator by 2, that's going to give us, of course, our whole number remains the same, 1 and 1 25th. And this is our simplified answer. All right. Are there any questions so far? Are there any questions so far? All right, thank you, thank you. All right, here we go. So now we're going to look at the following problem.
Mr. Davis?
Uh-huh.
You know the way how you cross out the...
So here we have 1 and 1/4 times 8/10. Oh, there we go. All right, so now, I'm sorry. So now we're going to change this mixed number to an improper fraction. Of course, we multiply denominator times whole number and then add the numerator. So 1 times 4 is 4 plus 1 is 5. So we're going to have 5/4. Your denominator stays the same, times 8/10. All right. So now I'm going to look to simplify denominator and numerator. Of course, 4 and 8 are multiples of 4, so I can simplify that. This is 1, and this will be 2. 5 and 10 are multiples of 5, so I can simplify those. That's 1, and this is 2. So of course, when we multiply, that's 1 times 2 over 1 times 2. And then that's going to equal, of course, 2 over 2, which equals 1 whole. Okay? And that is the final answer for that problem. All right? Now I'm going to work one more, and then we're going to call it a day. All right, and if you would like to participate, you may do so. All right, so here we go. So now we have 2 and 7/8 times 4/10. All right. So now here, of course, we need to change this mixed number to an improper fraction, multiply, and then add. So can someone unmute your microphone and tell me what the improper fraction that is equivalent to 2 and 7/8 is equal to? Applies 8 times 2 and then add 7. So can someone unmute their microphone and tell me what that improper fraction would be? Anyone?
23 over 8.
Very good. Thank you so much. 23 over 8. And then we're going to multiply that times 4/10. All right. So now we can look to simplify. Of course, 23 and 8 are not factors of any are not multiples of any factor, but 4 and 8 are multiples of 4, so we can simplify those two values. So here we have 2, and then we have 1. And then we multiply. Of course, 23 times 1 is going to equal 23. 2 times 10 is going to equal 20. So now we have to rewrite this improper fraction as a mixed number. Can someone unmute their microphone and tell me what will be my numerator? I'm sorry, what will be my dividend? And what will be my divisor? Someone tell me, what will be my dividend and my divisor? So what am I going to put inside?
The dividend will be 23 and the divisor will be 20.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So now, how many times can I divide here? Once. When I multiply, what am I going to subtract from 20? 23 minus? 20. And then I have 3 as our remainder. So I have my whole number, my numerator, and my denominator. So that means the mixed number would be what? 1/3. Very good. I heard somebody say 3/20. Now, can we simplify this fraction?
No.
All right, very good. So that means the final answer here is 1 3/20. Thank you guys for participating. I definitely appreciate it.